Rene Byrd. I hope you are all doing well. And what a year 2020 has been. In February of this year, I released my single Born Again video and started my campaign. The next month, COVID hit and the whole world changed. I had to really think deep and hard and had to make sure that I was using my platform for purpose. And me and the team sat down and we created an amazing IG live series called the Who Am I Talk, where I would sit down and speak to public figures, brand experts, celebrities, and people who were offering something to everyone about who they were, what their story was, what their passion that moved into their purpose was. And it was an amazing time, and it's still going strong many, many episodes later. So I want to thank you guys for the support that you've shown me on this journey. I can't wait to share with you more and more people and stories and inspiration to make us feel that this year, yes, it's been a tough year, but we've learned so much and we've learned a lot about ourselves. And this time we want to find out what our superpower is. We want to go for what is ours. We want to create our passion into our purpose. This is a time more than ever. So I'd like to introduce you to some highlights from the Who Am I Talk, and I'd like to thank you so much for the support. And I can't wait to share with you many more episodes on various different platforms. You take care and God bless you. Bye. The world that you're in is very a luxurious industry, you know. If we think of it's, yes, we've got loads of different perfumes, but, you know, there's different levels of perfumes. And right. I learned that myself. You know, I've come from humble beginnings, and I realized that every part of your outfit has to match. So we would spend a bit more money and buy a good coat or a good hat or a good outfit, a good dress. But sometimes you forget the part, which is the fragrance, which actually adds a layer to the look.
Important. So I'm glad you said that. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yes. No. After you, Chris.
So when I think of in this, you know, to the perfume purist, I don't know if they may understand this, but perfume is not only part of your well-being or your psychology, but it's also part of your fashion. You know, you can dress up or down with fragrance, and it's truly an accessory to, you know, what you're wearing or how you feel. So I agree, it's very important, you know, perfume. And when I knew, like I said, fashion per se wasn't always, because I have very simple style, right? You know, a nice pair of jeans, blazer, t-shirt, you know, I feel like I can wear a fragrance and you're gonna remember that fragrance way more than you remember what I worn, because that fragrance is gonna haunt you. I got so many stories where girls that I've dated, you know, they're like, I couldn't sleep, the fragrance is on me, and now I'm having nightmares, and you know, it's just like, fragrance is super, super powerful.
And you've got another win, which is due to come out in autumn by a Hollywood star. Tell me about this. I was so, you must have been, how did it happen?
Well, it happened in 2016, actually, 4 years ago. I got approached by Steve McQueen, the director of 12 Years a Slave, and his people approached me, and they said, listen, we're looking at some stories of Caribbean people who have, you know, excelled in their field, you know, and it should be a person who is active or around in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. So I thought, well, I'm old enough for that. So, and you know, and they really liked my story, especially the fact that I still pushed through to join the Met, even though my dad had been beaten up by them. And you know, I remember going for lunch with Steve, and he said, listen, I still can't get my head around. Why would you still join the Met? You say you love your dad, right? You love your dad. Yeah. And then you know, why are you still joining? And you know, he's from Grenada, so he's got his Grenadian accent sort of coming out strong now. You know, I mean, gosh, this guy's he's like, he's trying to look into my soul, you know. And I said, well, you know, it's my faith. He said, why didn't you tell me that in the first place? I don't know, because obviously that you have to put that through the script and the characters, and then we found out after we start to get into the script that John Boyega of Star Wars fame wanted to play the part, you know.
And so, wow, that's a long time. And when we talk about nutrition,
there's so much misconceptions about nutrition. I think I've had my perception of what it is. As you said, in this time, loads of people are discussing and thinking they need to eat this. And they've even had things that they said would get rid of the corona, which is crazy. We all know about immune system building. And I think food is what you need to put in to make you healthy. But what's the misconceptions that go around about food? Because I think that's the first thing.
Absolutely. So firstly, just talking about corona, I've heard so many, like you say, misconceptions about the latest cure, and if you take a super high dose of vitamin C, you know, that's going to protect you, or if you take a really high dose of vitamin D, that's going to protect you. And actually, just to start off by saying, there is nothing that will cure at the moment. You know, if we had a cure, and if it was as simple as taking such a high dose of these vitamins, then countries all around the world would not be spending millions and billions of pounds trying to develop a vaccine or a treatment. So, you know, that's the first thing to know. But just going back to even things that people still believe, like you shouldn't eat fats because it's bad for you, or you shouldn't eat carbs and you should follow a really high fat diet, or calories are everything. So, you know, people say that calories in versus calories out. And whilst there is an element to that, actually where that calorie comes from, what it's made up of, is much more important than, you know, just calories in, calories out. So I think it's just so important for people to realize that nutrition is not quite as simple as take this and eat this and you'll be healthy. You know, if it was, then my job would be much easier than it is.
Yeah. Well, also, like, obviously I like spinning. Everyone that knows me or follows me will know that I'm very blessed to have a spinning bike, and it's like I like high powered stuff. I like the buzz, the thrill. So I think that's why I like it. But I've had to try and learn to do something else, because I can't just be on a high and always buzzing, and hence why I have had panic attacks. But what else do you think would be a good idea? The Pilates, yoga, and I've done yoga before, but I've got caught in this position. It's hilarious. What do you think?
Go for your power walk. You know, you could put some little low weighted weights in your hands. Use your arms, go at a speed that's just about comfortable, where you can still have a little bit of a conversation, but you're getting puffed out. So good for you. So good for your mind and body. You know, you are working the lower half of your body. You can even do a training where you're walking 5 minutes. You go into some front lunges, walking lunges for a minute. You can stop, do your 15 squats, get back into your walk, and make it a circuit. Great way to train. In the parks, there's benches. You can do your press ups, you can do your burpees, your mountain climbers. You know, you've got all this going on. You don't need equipment. You can go with equipment. You know,
I've got a question. I've got 2 questions for you, actually. What's the good food to put for your immune system, number 1, and number 2, what's good food in order to help you after an intense muscle workout, or what food before and after? So what are good immune foods and what are good for workouts? That's the first question. Another one after.
All right, so I'm going to try and make it simple, because you know what, I'm all about making things simple. First of all, we're be athletes, so forget it. You don't need to be counting your calories, weighing your foods, worrying about macros, this, that, and everything else. Portion control. That's it. Okay? So look at the portions that you're eating. Make sure that you're eating a really good plant-based diet. So the majority of your foods in the day are natural foods, fruits, vegetables, anything that there's no sell-by date, basically. Okay? Things that are healthy for you. Cut out processed rubbish. Cut out sugar as much as possible.
So with an investor, what are the things that they're looking for a startup? Obviously, there's no, as you said, it's no perfect solution, but what really jumps out to them in the world of startups? Obviously, we know the social world, social media world, but what's the big thing that's happening right now in this space? What's exciting to them?
Yeah, I'm painting with a wide brush here, but with any investor, really what they want is the ideal thing for investors is that their capital helps you grow. So what I think of as like a money machine. If they put $1 in, they want to get $3 out. So if you're thinking about like your business, let's say we're the founders of Instagram, you and I, and we have Instagram, and we know that we've been able to acquire customers for $1. And every time we put $1 out into advertising, we get 1 customer back. Well, that's great. That's very tangible. But you and I collectively only have $100. So that means we can only get 100 customers. And we have to wait until those customers give us some money back before we can acquire new customers. A situation like that is a really strong case for an investor, because then an investor can say, okay, well, if you can get 100 customers with $100, can you get 1 million customers with $1 million? And then we go like, yes, we can. And then they give us $1 million and we quickly turn our business into something bigger. That's kind of the ideal version of venture capital. That's when you'll have a very easy conversation with investors.
It is. But what happened that day? That day the world changed.
Well, where should I start? Well, we got together. You know, Jermaine and the other guys could probably go in more detail about how that transpired, but we all got together. We were fathers, concerned fathers for our youngsters out there protesting. Jermaine had been to a previous march, I think, with a horse, where the policewoman had been thrown from her horse.
Yes, I remember.
And he'd seen a few things go down that he wasn't happy with. And he noticed that there wasn't that many men around. None of us, men for the community around to help support and oversee and look after the women and the children and the youngsters. So he and with a few others got us all together, and we decided to go down there as older, wiser heads, overseers, to go and just lend a hand to whatever wherever it maybe might be the police that needed help, or any of the youngsters that needed guidance, but we just went down there to support and just to do something, because you sit at home sometimes and you wonder, what can I do? What can I do to help? What can I do? And the first thing you can do is just get up off your sofa and get down there and support the cause, right? So that's what we did. In doing so, a number of different things transpired on that day, down by the Waterloo area, which is where it all took place, that incident that is now known the world over. There was many minor skirmishes and altercations happening all over the place, which we were party to, but obviously only one of them that got caught on the day, and that one was this we call him this lone wolf man. I don't know. He'd been left by himself by the rest of his far right protesters, and then somehow by Waterloo there's like a stairwell leading up to Embankment, and he was at the top of the stairwell, and then he was surrounded by protesters, and I would say at that point 50% were trying to protect him and about 50% was probably trying to harm him, and they hoisted him up, and he was then on the staircase. And then there was this Rastafarian man that was trying to protect him, middle-aged Rastafarian guy.
Beautiful.
He was protecting this man, but he only had so much time on his hands before, the onslaught. So we all rushed over. It was a lot of mayhem. We all rushed over there, and we're all trying to get to the guy to stop anything, untoward happening to him. And there was sort of like a barrier, created around him by the guys and other guys as well, not just these guys, but there were others as well trying to protect him. And then, I was sort of the last one in there, and I just sort of had the presence of mind. I just thought, pick him up. So I picked him up, threw him on my shoulder, and started to walk away from the scene with everybody, these guys and others as well, protecting me and the guy. I remember hearing a round of applause. I remember hearing clapping at the time as I walked away. And then there was a row of police who were there, who were able to, they could have intervened, but they decided not to. They were just there filming the incidents with their GoPros, trying to collate, evidence so they could go back at a later date and check the facial recognition and start arresting people one by one. So they were there, and I just plumped him in front of them and just said, "Here you go." And one of them said, "Oh, well done, man. You did a good thing there." That was it.